It is essential the United States maintain a strong footprint abroad. And as history has shown, when the United States turns its back, chaos erupts, and our enemies fill that power vacuum. It's refreshing to hear my colleagues across the aisle have concern over Syria and present a position of having a strong U.S. presence abroad. I wish I would have seen this kind of vigor in these positions when President Obama allowed Assad to ignore a red line. And I would hope that this newfound vigor in these new positions transfer when speaking about Venezuela, about defending the Hong Kongers, and others that are seeking liberty and freedom from across the world. But I applaud the new positions that my colleagues across the aisle have found, and I also applaud President Trump's continued actions to hold the Syrian regime in check by attacking military targets after its chemical attack on civilians, and for imposing sanctions on officials in Assad's authoritarian government. I also commend the president's swift actions in Turkey, whose irrational actions have endangered a key U.S. ally, empowered Iran and Assad, and set us back in the global fight against ISIS. These are not the actions of a NATO ally, and I'm proud to co-sponsor a sweeping sanction bill introduced by Republican Conference Chairwoman Liz Cheney. With that said, I have two questions for the witnesses. First, on August 25th, the Israeli Air Force acted in Syria to prevent an Iranian drone attack on Israel. What does the report recommend related to the U.S. support for allies confronting threats from Syria, in particular Israel?
Thanks, Congressman. Well, the Israeli campaign against Iran, I think if you step back, is really extraordinary in many ways, because they have managed to sort of deter, maybe not deter, they've managed to limit Iran's activities in Syria through these airstrikes, and yet Iran has not had an effective response against Israel. And they've managed to do this in coordination with Russia, which is in this alliance with Iran. And so I think that the Israeli campaign really sort of deserves commendation. And we should support it however we can, whether that's intelligence sharing, whether that's diplomatic cover if they need it. And we should also, frankly, use our own tools to counter what Iran is doing, sanctions tools and whatever other tools are available to us.
I associate myself with Mr. Singh's comments.
All right, you guys are making it easy. All right, one more question. How do we ensure the situation on the border between northeast Syria and Turkey is not abused by Iran to expand its presence in the country and solidify what I'm seeing as a land bridge between Tehran and Beirut?
So this is where Mr. Singh talked earlier about the U.S. forces that remain at the Tanf garrison, which is not in the area of northeastern Syria that Turkey is currently focused on. So in the view of the Syria Study Group, maintaining those U.S. forces at that garrison is critical for preventing Iran from consolidating those lines of communication through Syria. And given the movement or redeployment of other U.S. forces, it's highly likely that Assad, Russia, the Iranians or Iran proxies will challenge our position there. They've done it before. And that was under former Secretary of Defense Mattis, who responded with overwhelming force and sent a clear signal. So this would, in terms of maintaining that U.S. force presence, our adversaries need to believe that there's a credible threat of military force on the table, and that's something that hopefully the executive branch will be contemplating of making quite clear.
All right, thank you again. I commend you on your work, and I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Mr. Reschenthaler. Mr.